when I got both these trailer units, they are actually both identical, which is a common problem that we have in modelling of some real world things, because the producers will only produce a certain number of models, and a lot of times we end up getting duplicates. I have managed, because they get these second hand, although the trailers are identical, the tractor units are different. So what I've done is this one had some damage on the bottom anyway. So I actually repainted the bottom of the tractor unit, of the trailer unit, and obviously I've now installed my LEDs. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about putting back the details that were lost in the painting process. I'm going to do that on the computer, and then we'll come back to the model and actually fit it. So at the moment I've got a gloss paint finish on the bases as it would be from the factory. This one is just a grey gloss paint. So we'll move over to the computer and I'll show you how I'm going to achieve the registration plate and the red bar with white stripes. So I've moved over here onto my computer and I'm going to open up Adobe Illustrator. The reason I'm using Adobe Illustrator is because it allows me to be able to work in millimeters or pixels. So I can actually work in real world measurements, and it also allows me to work from an A4 page. And then I can select that my measurements are in millimeters. So you can see it does give you options of feet, inches and yards. But when it comes to doing things in scale, especially for 4mm scale, we want it to be in millimeters. So you see it made some changes there, and then we'll zoom in. Again, the reason I want to work on an A4 page is because when I print out the transfer, it's going to be on an A4 page. Now that we've got our project set up in our editing package, we need to know some of the measurements for the elements that we're going to add. So I've got this ruler which has half-millimeter measurements as well as full millimeter measurements. To make this simple, I'm going to use full millimeters because I think this will have been done in full millimeters. So measuring the bar to start with. Now, because I've got a prototype here, I can actually look at it and I can see that transfer that's on the original model doesn't wrap around the bar, so it just sits on top. So I reckon that is 1mm by 27mm, and that our number plate, and this is quite difficult to measure on the full millimeters, is 4mm by 4mm. So we're saying that the number plate on this lorry is 1 foot by 1 foot, and when we convert it. So what I also want to do is I also want to number the lorry, and I'm going to number it IBV 1507. So I'm going to look at the size of those letters, and again I probably get 1.5mm, but I'm going to go with as close to 1mm as possible. So now we're going to transfer our measurements into our software. And the good thing about using this piece of software is I can just actually transfer my measurements directly. So we've got 1 millimeter, well, actually go width, which is 27 millimeters by 1 millimeter. So that gives us our bar. And then we want 4 by 4, which the inside of this and the inside of that gives us our actual transfers. So I know the registration number that I need, and we know that the inside of that is going to be an orange color. Again, I'm familiar with this piece of software. If you're using something like Inkscape, I'm not sure quite how that works, so you may have to look that up with people who do. So I can now zoom right in, which makes it quite difficult to move stuff about. There we go. So we'll turn off, now that we've got a box that we can work with, we can turn off our outline, and we got a registration number which will be which is actually going to be massive to start with. So we've got PX6. So again, because we're dealing with something so small, 6.1, and we are BFK. And we're going to go with something which looks a bit more because I've got the other model here, I can double check exactly how it looks. And this one actually, the number plate isn't quite centered, but we'll see how well I can put a transfer on. So that's the number plate transfer, really simple. And because we're on a computer, we can easily copy and paste a couple of times. So we've got a few spares just in case. Zoom back out. And now we've got something a bit more tricky to deal with. So what I need is to know where my center is. Again, our no border. We do want these to be white, so but we want the inside of this. When I get the right mouse to be now red, and then we can remove red for the inside and no line for the outside. lost where my square was. Okay, so what we've got is we've got almost diamond shapes. And what I'm planning on doing is to try and create them by doing that. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, is that right? Okay, so let's find the center. We'll give that. So that's our center. And on our original, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit. So we see that's not quite right. So they're still too far apart. So I'm just using copy and paste. What I might do is I fill you black just now. And go like that. That one. Yeah, so that looks about right to me. So now I've copied all of those, and then I can reflect them. Which means now I can do that, which gives me an approximation to the original. And again, I want to copy and paste a couple of those. So that's me created a couple of transfers, which I'll print out. So now we've got our designs done. It's now time to look at the paper we're going to print it on. So there are a couple of different kinds of decal paper you can get. You need to know what type of printer you've got. So I've got an inkjet printer, so the decal paper I have here is inkjet stuff. Both of the clear and the white come in both inkjet and laserjet. If you're using an inkjet printer, you need to use the inkjet stuff. It just allows the ink to soak into the paper a bit more, whereas a laser will sit on the top. So we need to choose the right paper for what we're doing. So today we are wanting to do white stripes. Now our printer doesn't have white ink. There are ways you can get white ink into your printer, but because I use my printer for office work as well, I need to be able to have white as one of my colours, and the way to do that is to use the paper. So I've got white decal paper here. Although I've taken the front off, it's printed on the back that it's Waterslide decal paper inkjet white. And I think this one has the same. It's slightly bigger printed, but you know exactly what the paper is. So because we're wanting the white, we're going to use the white stuff. If we were doing something to go onto, for example, the glass of this bus, we would probably want it to be on the clear, but we would have to know that whatever we put on the glass can't have white on it, and that whatever colours that we put down are going to be slightly translucent. If I was doing something for the side of this lorry, you can see that the lorry is white, so therefore anything that you put on could have colour, and the colour would be fine because the white would just reflect in the background. So you do need to pick your paper for the task. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out our design that we've got, and I'll be back to show you the next step, because we can't just print and then stick. We've got to do a couple of other steps. So I've just popped the paper into the printer, and as you can see, I've added a few extra signs that we're going to do. And what I'm going to do is going to file and then print. Now your printer might be slightly different to mine, so you might need to set things up differently, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are printing best quality. So I've got glossy photo paper. So what I want to do is other glossy inkjet papers. We want print on both sides, no, because we've got a single page here, and we've only got the coating on one side. And we want the best quality, and then grayscale to be off. And then everything else here should be fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that as a preset. So I'm going to save that as decal white. And then I'm going to print it as we would print anything. I've printed it out and I've cut the piece of paper down. I've let it dry. I've then gone over it with clear lacquer. And that's now also dry. So I did it all off camera so that I could do it outside. because this stuff does smell a bit. So now what I need to do is I need to get the sections all cut out. So I'm going to start off with a registration plate. And obviously I've done a couple of them so that if it doesn't work, then I can try again. So there we go, we've got a registration plate. I'm trying to cut it so that, so I cut through that one. So I'm trying to cut them so that I have as few cuts as possible, but also that the rest of them stay within the paper. So you see I've just cut that one. Now cut that out. So I need to neaten that up a little bit. We are talking about very, very small sections. So there we go, that's our we've got a number plate and we've got our stripes. And now I've got my lorry ID. So the lorry ID tags here, I could have done them on the clear, but because I was printing out on the white anyway, I chose just to do it on the white. And I only need one of the, well, I need two of the warning signs because I want to put one on each. That's my set. And as I say, I want to try and keep the paper as intact as possible so that I can put that away, and then if the transfer gets damaged or if I repaint it, I don't have to reprint this. I can just grab this and then do the transfers from that. So I'll go one first. As you can see, our transfers are absolutely tiny. So this is where you find out that you've missed a spot with your lacquer. So we pop it in the water and it will curl up. This one shouldn't curl up too much. It has come off in the water. So we want a wet spot for it to go onto. Don't know if I can save this one. So use just try and get it straight. There we go. So that's that one on. Tricky because they're very small, but with a little bit of patience and moving it about, it will work. So now we've got this slightly trickier one. So want a little bit of water where we're going to put our... So we just want it wet, we don't want a complete puddle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do registration plate first because I don't want to go over. As you can see, it's completely curled over on itself. As I say, I don't know if I will be able to get this one back. If not, I'll just cut out another one. So there we go, that's that now on. And there we go, so that's now our rather slim. Now remember that's 1mm by 27mm, so it's really, really small, but it's not that difficult to do. And we'll get that one. And then we'll just try and wick away some of the excess water. So there we go, we've now got two unique lorries. And I have noticed that I have used the wrong registration plate, so I'll need to do the registration number again. I should have looked at this one, which is PX11. So, but there we've got two unique lorries, and that finishes this video. So if you did like it, please give a thumbs up, and if you're not already, please do subscribe.